Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here I am, Bar Auditor ESQ, aka the Banker's Secret, aka Audit the Bar, exposing bar secrets. That would be me at the present time. And, it strikes me as humorous. I thought maybe I could tell you guys a couple of stories of experiences that I had as an attorney. Now that I don't have to worry about being politically correct anymore, or I don't know, violating client confidentiality rules. Of course, I wouldn't use anyone's name, but man, I had some unbelievable stories to tell, and at the moment, I can't remember a damn one. So that's going to be something I'm going to do in the future. I'm going to probably call it it's going to be a channel about stories. Actually, I know one. The first one I could tell you is that I got to argue a case as a second year attorney, believe it or not, as a private counsel hired by Florida's 15th Judicial Circuit, which is like Martin County, Florida, around the Stewart area. And not the 15th Judicial Circuit. It was the 19th Judicial Circuit that I represented at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in oral argument as like a second year attorney. And I remember, you guys are not going to believe this story, but it's true. I'm not exaggerating one bit. So you can look up the case. It's called In Re Verola, Verola, 11th Circuit, federal appeal. I'm not sure what year, 2005, 2006, I don't know, 2004. And so, incredibly, I got to go up there with an assistant state attorney from the 19th Judicial Circuit who was sort of out of his league in federal bankruptcy court appeal, and but a nice guy. And so he and I went up there, and the attorney for the debtor, which was basically a guy, if you can believe this, that scammed like hundreds of thousands of dollars out of his clients. He used to be an attorney, and then he got imprisoned and found guilty of stealing $500,000 from his clients. And he got put on probation and had to pay restitution because that was the only way these victims of his crime were ever going to get their money back. Not while he's incarcerated. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So they let him out on parole, and the condition of his parole was that he pay restitution of like $2,000 a month to his victims. We actually represented the victims. That's how I got started being involved in the case. And some bankruptcy judge let the criminal go into court, plead guilty to stealing $500,000 from his clients when he was an attorney. And then, figuratively speaking, but it was more true then than now, he could literally go across the street to the United States District Court Bankruptcy Court Division clerk's window and file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy and discharge his criminal restitution obligation so that he would be out. They wouldn't be able to violate him because that part of his debt had actually been eliminated by the federal court. He wouldn't be able to, they wouldn't be able to violate him and put him back in jail. Yet the victims of the white-collar criminal wouldn't receive 1 red cent of their restitution, and the scumbag would completely avoid jail time. So basically, he would have parole but no conditions. Might as well just call it freedom, or injustice in this case. So somehow this ended up at the 11th Circuit, and here I am arguing essentially on behalf of all the victims of white-collar crime in Florida, because if all the criminals could just plead guilty in state court, get out on parole but have to pay restitution to their victims, discharge their debt, their restitution obligation in bankruptcy, and then they're just skating and they're not even having to go to jail. So, that way, if our system, that happens in our system, then it's not fulfilling either of its intended functions. It's not, number one, rehabilitating dilly squat, not shit, teaching them, in fact, the opposite. It's whatever the opposite of rehabilitation is, that's what they're doing, basically teaching them they can get away with being a criminal and not have to spend the rest of his life imprisoned. And then, the other thing is like, okay, well, if we're not going to be able to make the victims whole, then let's go ahead and wreak some eternal vengeance and justice on this dude and lock him up. But that's not happening. He's not having to pay. That's some fucked up stuff. So I was really honored to be up there and able to argue as a baby lawyer on behalf of all these nameless victims, basically, plus, to benefit my clients. At the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, 3 justices, big, austere, august courtroom, high ceilings and all that. And we're far away from the bench, where the 3 justices are, all very old men. So the opposing counsel, he gets up first, and this is how he starts his opening, his argument. Abraham Lincoln once posed the question, if you call a tail a leg, how many legs does a dog have? Well, the answer, according to Honest Abe, is 4, because no matter what you call a tail, A dog still has 4 legs. So that's how opposing counsel began his speech. And he prattled on for about 10 minutes after that. But when he said that, I felt like blue lightning bolt of brilliance from heaven come down in between my ears. And I just sat there, desperately hoping that I could hold on to the brilliant way that I had of destroying this guy in oral argument. You know, if I could hold on to it long enough for him to finish, sit up, shut down, sit up, let me get up there, let me act normal, and let me unleash, because I did. And this is what I said when I started my presentation. Abraham Lincoln once posed the question, if you're sitting on the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals and the United States Supreme Court tells you a tail is a leg, how many legs does a dog have? Well, 5, because a tail is whatever the United States Supreme Court says it is when you're sitting on the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. They go, very good, young man, very good. Har, har, har. Did you know he was going to say that ahead of time? I was like, no. And we won. Bye. Here I am. Vote for me. Do you guys think I might be an attorney? Am I allowed to say that? Exposing bar secrets. Stay tuned. Later.